News and information 570 AM.
96.3 FM HD2. KLIF Dallas. KSCS FM HD2 Fort Worth. KLIF.com.
A Cumulus station.
Now, from the fifth floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This is Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga, and I am Mike Kruizinga, your host and local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor. Welcome to Inside Real Estate. By the way, we are here every Sunday morning, 8 to 9 a.m., so we hope you make it part of your Sunday morning ritual to tune in and listen to us. And by the way, you can always tune in to InsideRealEstateRadio.com for all the past archive shows. And actually, last week we had a really great show. We had a great segment with a Republican candidate in District 32 going up against Pete Sessions, Paul Brown. We had a great conversation with him. This guy was a Marine and intelligence officer. And we had a great conversation about electronic surveillance as well as the lack of human intelligence and human assets on the ground, and really that deterioration since the absolute 1990s. And so we had a great conversation during our local politics segment with him, and that is on the website. So I would definitely tune into that one. If you get a second. And, we kind of talk about all things here, not only real estate, mortgage, insurance, a little bit of sports, entertainment as well, but we do those local segments on politics. And so we really enjoyed that and hope you tune in to catch that one. InsideRealEstateRadio.com when you get a second. Folks, we're all over the internet and Pinterest. Every story that we cover, talk about on every Sunday has its own page on our Pinterest page, so don't forget to check in there. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, all of that is accessible through the website at InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Today we've got a lot going on. We're going to be talking mortgage talk with Terry Wagner from Supreme Lending Rockwall. We're going to be doing that with her. Guess what? We're going to talk to J.C. Harder from J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency for insurance talk. We're going to do a little home improvement talking today as well. We're going to get Kevin Hamus, owner of Ideal Floors, in with us here. We're going to be talking to him. If we've got enough time, we're also going to do a foundation segment with Permapeer as well. So we'll see how much time we have to get through all that for you. A lot going on. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. It's the 14th Sunday. Hope everyone's enjoying time with their loved one out there. But you know what? Hey, if you're single, enjoy that too, because that's fun as well. A lot going on in real estate. Hey, did you know JCPenney is in the news? The Plano headquarters going to be on the market. JCPenney's is going to reduce their needs down to about 600,000 square feet. The properties that they're going to sell, there's about 1 million square foot of building space that they're going to sell, along with 40 empty acres, by the way, that can be developed. So JCPenney in the news, going to be selling some very highly sought after property. So there's some big news there. We know that DFW is doing really well commercial-wise in real estate. I bring those stories to you every week. And we are just behind New York. The numbers are in for 2015, just behind New York in top commercial markets in the entire nation. And so year over year, New York was up 66%, and here in Dallas-Fort Worth, 35%. So doing really good commercial-wise. Numbers are in there. We are third in the total build volume in 2015. Of course, New York number one. Total build volume, Miami was just a hair above us. So New York, Miami, and then DFW in total build volume, but we were second in overall behind New York year over year. Hey, we know that property over there at Elm and Ackerd, the 52-story high-rise that's been kind of in issues and vacant since 2010. We've brought this story to you a few different times as different investors are looking at purchasing that property, but it's been in bankruptcy, probably going into foreclosure. The company has wanted to foreclose on it, but it's kind of gotten held up in all kinds of legal red tape and proceedings. But California-based Drever Capital has offered up $65 million to purchase that property, and so maybe, just maybe, that will be approved. But a number of bidders have put in offers on the property, and it's hard to believe a 52-story high-rise is sitting vacant here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but since 2010 this one has been, and it's gone through a lot of issues. It needs to be rehabbed, and hopefully it will be and start to be occupied here in the very, very near future. What else is going on? Big news. This ties into the NFL Rams owner, NFL Rams owner, Kroenke Group. Stan Kroenke, owner of, has purchased or is in the process of purchasing the Wagner Ranch. Now, I brought this story to you a few weeks back that the Wagner Ranch was going on the market. The historic Wagner Ranch, which, by the way, stretches over 6 counties and is about 520,000 acres only. And this ranch has some serious Texas history, and we talked about that in the past. But it looks like it's going to be going to Stan Kroenke. And by the way, Stan is married to Ann Walton, who is part of the Walton legacy. And as you also know, the Waltons were in the news recently. I brought these stories to you in the past few weeks as well. Alice Walton, who happens to be a cousin to Ann, was working on selling the Rocking W Ranch. And, of course, she has a number of huge ranches in the Texas and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and was looking to sell that one as well. So a lot of land changing in and out of the hands of the various Walton heiresses. But, of course, this land being bought by Kroenke and his group and his wife, Ann Walton. But this is pretty huge. The property was estimated to go up around $725 million or so. Details have not been disclosed as of yet of what the final number is going to be, but huge piece of land going to the Rams owner. So that's some really, really big news, folks. Hey, by the way, we're here to help you with all of your real estate needs, helping with you with buying and selling. And even if you have a complicated process that you need to deal with. We just handled a sale and a purchase for a client who is a doctor and does extensive traveling all over the globe, and needed her son to manage the transactions for her. She's in and out of the country all the time. And when you're buying and selling real estate, that can be problematic, particularly here in Texas, because a lot of things need to be notarized. And, of course, the Texas title companies have to make sure that no fraud is occurring, et cetera. And so they have a lot of guidelines that have to be looked after. We had to do a power of attorney for the sale. Now, if you know anything about power of attorneys, you can, if, for example, those of you in the military, maybe your husband or wife has a durable power of attorney for you so you can handle things while they are deployed. Well, when it comes to real estate here in Texas, the title companies prefer, and many make it mandatory, that you have to have a specific power of attorney for a specific piece of property, which means you need a power of attorney to sell a property 123 Main Street. Now, if you're going to sell 124 Main Street, well, 123 Main Street POA is not going to work. So need a specific power of attorney for each piece of property. And then, of course, for a purchase as well. So if you're going to purchase 125 Main Street, well, we need a purchase POA for that. And so we were able to get all that scheduled and taken care of for a client of mine that was a doctor who was in and out of the country very briefly, and able to get all those power of attorney documents done. And then also coordinate some rehab on a new property and get all these closings scheduled for her son here locally. get the sale done and get a purchase done, and very complicated process, and we were able to knock that out and make it pretty darn seamless. So don't forget, we're pretty good at what we do here. We can help you buy and sell real estate, and of course that's what we do. And always go to the website InsideRealEstateRadio.com for all of our contact information. And by the way, great new listing coming up as well. Okay, this is a really sweet coming sooner down in Crescent on about 2.5 acres. Huge one-story property, and it's got an amazing black-bottomed pool, fountain. And by the way, you can kind of control this pool with an app on your phone, by the way, which is kind of neat. Great pavilion out back with a smoker, great game room and media room, all the typical things you would expect of a luxury property. Going to be running $675 on this one, and easy commute to the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. So coming sooner down in Crescent. By the way, Crescent property taxes are some of the lowest in the DFW area. So if you're thinking about living around the Fort Worth area, you can work in Fort Worth, Cleburne, Burleson, Weatherford, any of those areas. Tiny little spot of Crescent. By the way, Crescent is just near Aledo and Granbury. This particular property is in Granbury ISD, which is a good thing because those taxes are a little bit lower. Great property. You might want to get with me on that. We're waiting on some aerial shots on it, and then we'll get it up on the market and be able to show you how amazing that property is. Hey, folks, we're going to get into the rest of the show. We're going to take a short break and come on back. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. See you in a few.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to Perma-Pure Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of Perma-Pure Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling Perma-Pure at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapure.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. It's time for Inside Real Estate website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Time to head into another great insurance segment with our favorite insurance guy, J.C. Harder, from the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency Company. Folks, the website is jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. And J.C., welcome back to the show.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. So I know we've been doing the rolling segment of talking about all the various companies that you work with, and this is one of the great reasons why I say everybody needs to call JC, because he can find the perfect match of companies that you represent to handle every single situation. Who are we talking about today?
Today we're going to go with Universal North America. We'll just shorten that to Universal for the purpose of the segment, but this is one of our regional carriers. Kind of like Cypress, kind of like United Property and Casualty. They're headquartered in Florida. They were proven in a hurricane state, and once you can make it in a hurricane state, you can make it anywhere. So they were founded in 2003. Since then, they've moved to Texas. They are financially A-rated, which again I mention every week, but just to make sure that you know that all of our carriers we're working with, do have the money to pay out in case something happens. So a lot of times some people think independents can be cut rate insurance, but with the Goosehead model, we only represent the best carriers in the industry.
Right, and that's important to point out, because there are a lot of cut rate insurance companies out there, but they have small-time independent names where you represent the best of the best, really globally.
Absolutely. Couple quick points on Universal. They do have a 94% claim satisfaction rating. So anytime, really anything over 85% in that category is awesome, but especially in the 90s is incredible. On top of that, one of the reasons why is because they do write the upgraded form in Texas called the HOB, or that all-risk version. So at the end of the day, you have more things you're covered for than your basic policy out there. And I always mention, a lot of water coverage, and that HOB does come with your extra water coverages for this policy as well.
Right, and if everybody's been listening to our previous segments, they know that if they're looking at their deck page, they want to make sure they're all risk. But a lot of people were surprised to find out that they are not. And folks, if you're not, you could be in a heap of trouble. That's why you need to call JC.
Absolutely. So as far as like just on their target customer, credit is a rating factor. So if you do, if you're good in the credit, scoring there, then you're going to get more favorable rates with them. And that has a lot to do with the claim satisfaction rating. So because they have seen that, higher credit people do make less fraudulent claims, and that's what, keeps premiums down versus, I've heard underwriters say calling every time the wind blows.
Right.
So highly credit rated. They are, leaning towards the age of the home or the newer home. So the newer the home is, the better the rating is as well. They give big discounts for it being a new purchase, which about half our carriers do, half of them don't. So that's always a benefit, and that's why we work with Mike and everyone at Supreme Lending. So they do get some extra discounts for that. As far as claims, they are a little more, or let's say pre-claims, like claims from other properties that you carry with you. They are pretty lenient on those as well too. So they're willing to take you on if those other factors look good.
Okay, so if somebody's out there listening to us and they've purchased a home in the last few years and maybe they want to check and see if they can get a better rate with you, good chances are with this carrier they would, right?
Absolutely, especially if it's a newer home as well too. So,
and if you've got a really good credit score as well, you can get a really good discount. Probably, folks, probably 9 times out of 10, if you're looking at your policy and JC studies that for you, he's got a better carrier for you. So I say for all your insurance needs, you need to call JC, because guess what? He can actually bundle even, and we've talked about this before, but it's always good to mention really every time we talk. He can bundle your auto with one carrier, your home with another carrier, maybe toys with another carrier, and all those things you can get the discounts for the multi-policy and get a way better package than just what you're getting maybe with one carrier right now. I always recommend calling JC, 214-643-6108. JCHarderAgency.com, by the way, is the website. Let's keep going here with Universal.
Absolutely. So, again, not everyone fits. Some companies that are only representing one, they might be best on the home but not best on the auto. So that is a benefit that at the Goosehead model we can, truly maximize those savings and make sure you're getting the best situation for you. I'll go through some of those other discounts available. Like I mentioned, age of home is a big one. Of course, the burglar and fire protection. If you spend some extra money and get one of those class 1, 2, 3, or 4 roofs that's or a hail resistant roof, there's up to 4 to 10% discounts on those. Again, the multi-line that we just talked about. A preferred builder. So any of your big time builders, you get an extra discount for those as well. And what's really cool is the infinity discounts with Universal. So if you are an employer of John Deere, Toyota, Caterpillar, or in the education field, you can get up to another 10% discount with Universal.
Oh wow, that's nice. Let's let's run through those real quick one more time, because I think a lot of people, that's a huge portion of the demographic.
Absolutely, that's John Deere, Toyota. Obviously, with their big move to to Plano recently, that would be helpful.
Sure.
Caterpillar. And it just says teachers, for the education field.
Education field, okay. So, folks, if you work in any of those industries or for any of those companies, this particular carrier can get you an additional discount. Folks, look, it's a no-brainer to call JC, because chances are you've called maybe 1 or 2, if that many, when you're trying to shop around your insurance. Or maybe you've tried to go to one of those online and they quote a number of them. And even the quotes that some of them say they quote for others, can you really trust those? I don't know. JC legitimately can shop all of the top brands in the nation, and a lot of them actually operate internationally. And he can get you the best policy for your situation and for all of your needs. Your toys, your home, your cars, everything, multiple properties. If you're an investor out there and you haven't called JC, because some of the policies he has that are very lenient and very helpful to investors who own multiple properties. Even if you just own one or two additional properties, just a vacation property, you better call JC, absolutely. Folks, website, jcharderagency.com, jcharderagency.com. He's based right here in Dallas in the Uptown area, just a stone's throw away from my office. Phone number is 214-643-6108. That's 214-643-6108. Another great segment with J.C. Harder, owner of the J.C. Harder Goosehead Insurance Agency. We've been talking about one of the brands that he represents, he has access to, and that's Universal. Hey, folks, Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll be back in a few.
The J.C. Harder Insurance Agency in Uptown Dallas has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the J.C. Harder Insurance Agency Network. For a quote today on all your insurance needs, stop by J.C.'s office on McKinney Avenue in Uptown Dallas. Call 214-643-6108 or visit jcharderagency.com. That's 214-643-6108 or jcharderagency.com.
Sellers, how would you like your home sold guaranteed? Buyers, how would you like your bid guaranteed to win? Well, it's real simple. Call Mike Kruizinga with Chris Arnold Premier Realty and ask about their guarantee programs for both buyers and sellers. No one beats Mike's professional listing and marketing services for all price ranges, including luxuries and ranches. And few have the knowledge and patience to take first-time buyers from renting to home ownership in a tough market. Visit DFWMetroplexRealestate.com and mention you heard this on the radio. And listen to Mike Sundays, 8 a.m. on KLIF for Inside Real Estate.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We are back. Time to head on into a segment with Kevin Hamus, owner of Ideal Floors. Their website is idealfloors.com, and Kevin's number 214-789-0422. Let's talk some home improvement and some flooring. Kevin, what's going on today?
Oh, same old, just one week ends and next week starts. So, life goes on, and that's the way it is.
I know, time just flies, and we do our thing every day, and then the weekend comes. We're trying to shoot for a little bit of time off, but usually we're working on the weekends as well, and I'm ready for a vacation.
Hey, where are you going?
Well, I don't know, but I'm ready for one.
We'll buy an extra ticket for me wherever you go.
There we go. All right, done deal. Preferably somewhere south, near the beach, with some Jimmy Buffett music on, ideally. Let's talk some flooring, and I know, folks, we talk about this. If you're thinking about flooring out there, you want to talk to Kevin, because millions and millions of square feet in stock at great prices. Okay, the way they do business is they acquire product at amazing prices to pass along those savings to you, the consumer. Plus, if integrity matters to you, I tell you, these guys, amazing integrity, and you can actually talk to the owner directly if you want to. We give you a cell phone number every week. That's not the type of service you're going to get anywhere else. So let's give Kevin a call. If you're thinking about flooring at all, and especially if you're thinking about selling, you're going to, of course, get with me first, and we're probably going to need to get you some flooring, and we'll get it through Kevin, and we'll be able to use that pay at closing option, so that way you don't have to come out of pocket for that flooring, and of course get our great discount that we have with Kevin as part of our real estate program. So what else is going on these days out there, and what can we talk to the consumers about?
Well, actually, I would like to talk to the consumers about today is a lot about our ministry and how we operate our company. We have a ministry called Ideal Gives Back, and what it is, it's a ministry the Lord laid on my heart probably around 4 years ago now, and it's really to, we always gave back to the community, and we put in flooring, for needy families, but over the last 4 years, we've really stepped it up and and done about, probably around 50 houses a year, where what we do is we offer, a $1,500 in-store credit to needy families. It's people who need who own their homes, their mortgage payment's current, they're desperate need of flooring now, and it doesn't appear that they can afford it now or in the future. So it's mainly really falls into, the majority of the time it's for single parents, a lot of single moms, who just struggle from paycheck to paycheck. They may have gotten, the house in a divorce, but really can't keep it up. And, and they have young kids, and the flooring is, pretty bad. And a lot of times most of the time, the kids don't want to invite anybody over because they're so embarrassed about the way their house looks.
Right.
So we're doing, a lot of single moms, who just are trying to get by paycheck to paycheck. And, it's one thing about them. They go work all day, and then they come home and they're a mom all night, so it's like no break. So we like to help them. Also, the elderly people. There's a lot of elderly people that are on fixed incomes. They own their homes, but, they don't make much money, they don't have much money coming in, from Social Security. So there's no money left over to put flooring in their house. But a lot of the flooring's 20, 30 years old, original flooring. So we like to help a lot of elderly people. And the other class that we're really looking for is the long-term illness people. I mean, we had a situation one time where there was a couple that were both had very high-paying jobs and doing really well. The husband had an illness that came on really quick that affected him severely, so he lost his job, and then his wife had to quit her job to take care of him. So, I mean, they went from making a lot of money to making no money and just barely getting by. So, it's, long-term illness can really affect a lot of families.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, folks, you never know when something could hit. It's why we should always be thankful every day we wake up, and that we've got our health and et cetera. But you never know when something's going to hit you. And, honestly, folks, it doesn't take a lot to just knock you off your track, to knock you down on your knees. A couple, bad runs, could be health-wise or could be job-wise. Like you said, single parents that are maybe working paycheck to paycheck, and, then some sort of catastrophe at the home happens and they lose their flooring. Water damage, just a silly old water heater. It's a $300 water heater, but let's say that thing busts and you're at work and the kids are at school and you lose all your flooring and you're paycheck to paycheck, you might not be able to have the money to replace it. And of course you got to get rid of it because it's all mildewed and you don't want to have mold. But, that's just an example right there of, catastrophic event. Somebody who's making it, but they're barely making it.
Right, they're barely making it. And the problem is insurance companies now are raising their deductibles to 1 or 2%. So if you have $150,000 or $200,000 house, the deductible is $1,500 to $2,000. So, people don't have that around. So a lot of times they aren't able to get the flooring taken care of.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it makes them, puts them in a tough spot. And it's not just, the single parents. Yeah, it could be the elderly. Maybe they had some sort of event in the house or they lost, the flooring as part of some sort of event that occurred in the house. You get sick and you can't maintain the house. And, all kinds of things can happen and can just go downhill real quick for any of us folks. So we need to be thankful out there. That's a really big thing. You need to be thankful for everything that you have and everything that you work hard for. But even if you're a hard worker and you do all those things, an illness could come along. Something could happen to somebody in the family, and you could be in dire straits real quick. So if you do know of anybody that's in need of flooring out there, and you'd be surprised, like Kevin was saying, it impacts not only the head of households, but the children, if children are present as well, because they don't want to bring friends over. It impacts their lives. It kind of makes everybody kind of in a dull, sour, grumpy mood to a degree, and depression could set in, honestly.
Oh yeah, and what ends up happening is, I guess one thing I want to clarify is that it is for people who are in desperate need of flooring. A lot of times people see, oh, free flooring, I'll apply for that. And then when you check it out, they have big screen TVs. They drive and have a nice car in the yard, and,
Right.
And obviously they can afford flooring, but they just kind of think, oh, here's an option to get free flooring. So if you do know somebody, just it needs to be somebody who's in desperate need and who can't afford it. So just keep that in mind.
Right. And we all know that who may need some help out there. So if you're going to church today, you're listening to us in the car, you're listening to us while you're getting ready, and you're going to church, and you come across somebody when you're at church, and remembering that they gave you the story about how they maybe have experienced some hard times. And if flooring is part of that, and they are in dire need, you need to get with Kevin at Ideal Floors, because get with his Ideal Floors Gives Back program.
And the one thing, just so everybody knows, if you go to our website, idealfloors.com, there's an icon you just click on that says Ideal Floors or Ideal Gives Back. Just click on that, and an application will pop up, and you can fill out the application. And when you submit it, it comes directly to me.
Yeah, I mean, these applications go, not to anyone else. They go direct to Kevin, so he's going to be reviewing them personally every single time. And again, folks, these are for people who are in real need. Obviously, if you're one of those scammers out there and, you're driving nice cars out in the driveway and you've got the 80-inch screen TVs, yeah, not for you just because, you had a water leak. This is for people who really need it, and everybody knows who really needs it out there. And, of course, the other important point is that it does need to be a property that they own. So, it doesn't apply to renters, of course, because there's a landlord who owns that property. But you, of course, own your property, whether it's a townhome, whether it's a condo or duplex, single-family home, as long as you own it, of course. So, folks, if you know of anybody out there, this is just a huge program, integrity, doing business the right way. And these are the types of people you want to do business with. You want to give your business to them. So if you're in need of flooring yourself, or of anyone who's in need of flooring in that way, get with Kevin on the idealfloors.com website and the Ideal Floors Gives Back program. And, of course, for everybody else, you want to support what Kevin is doing and support him. And if you need flooring, you want to get with him and get with our mobile sales team that'll come out to you, or go to one of the multiple locations here in the Metroplex. Well, folks, it's been another great segment with Kevin Hamus of Ideal Floors. Website's idealfloors.com. Phone number 214-789-0422. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. We'll be back in a few.
With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211-731-6730, Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Business owners, you need to listen to this. Banks do not loan to small businesses, and your banker is not your friend. Hello, I'm Corey Stafford with World Business Lenders. We're a direct lender, and our only business is making loans to business owners like you. We offer a true business loan without requiring any collateral, and a collateral-based loan with terms up to 3 years. We're not a broker, and we don't charge broker fees, and since we are a direct lender, we can fund quickly. We make loans from $10,000 to $2 million with payback terms from 3 months to 3 years, and you don't need perfect credit. We approve over 80% of our loan applications, and we can fund in just a matter of days. So if you need funding to grow your business, buy inventory, or just need working capital, call me now at 855-85-FUNDS and get approved within 24 hours and get your funds quickly. Or apply online now at simplyquickbusinessloans.com. Just call 855-85-FUNDS or apply online at simplyquickbusinessloans.com. Get funded now.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. It's Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga here. Time for Mortgage Talk. We got Terry Wagner back in the studio. By the way, here's the phone number for all of your mortgage and refinance needs, 866-607-5667. If you want to hit their website, it's rockymartin.com. Rocky Martin, that's Rocky with an I-E, for all of your mortgage needs. And, of course, you can always hit our website and bounce over, insiderealestateradio.com. Terry, how are we today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How about you, Mike?
Good morning. I'm doing good. I'm ready to learn some more mortgage. And you know what's funny? As much as I do know about your industry, because we work hand in hand all the time, every time we do a segment, every time we do the show, I still learn new stuff all the time, and I learn stuff I forget.
Me too.
So
when I'm helping someone out that's new in our industry, that's the first thing I tell them. Once you think that you know it all, that you have all the answers, they're going to go change it, and you're not going to know it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and even if it's a similar or same situation you've dealt with maybe a year or two back, even 6 months back, there's something new with this situation because every situation is totally different, and there's some circumstance that has changed.
Oh, yes.
Or some rule that has changed that we're going to handle it slightly differently. You know, our industry that is hand in hand, but it's always in flux with new things going on, and so I'm excited to learn something new today. So teach me.
Okay. Well, I thought I would talk about bonds again. I know that we've talked about that a couple of times on the show, but there is just such an interest in it that maybe we're talking to someone today that hasn't heard one of our shows about the bond programs.
Okay.
Because they are really special. We have the availability to help individuals that just cannot seem to put together the money for a down payment to buy a house.
Right.
And this program allows them to do that with very little, and in some instances, not very much money out of pocket at all. Less than what they would pay if they were renting a house and having to come up with security deposits and other things that are required there.
Sure.
So I picked out one of the bond programs. We have 3 separate bond programs that we do in our office. And again, not all mortgage loan officers are able to offer these. So you certainly want to call one of us at Supreme Lending because we are well versed and we know how the programs work forward and backwards.
Right. Yeah. And trust me, folks, I mean, I've worked with other lenders out there. And, you know, it's why we work with the best, and they know exactly what's going on about all of these different programs and are up to speed on all the latest and greatest. And that's why you really need to give us a call on this because, you know, how about getting you into a house for darn near nothing?
Right.
And we're going to talk about one of those programs right now that we could get you in on.
Okay, so the first thing that comes up when we're looking at someone, if someone qualifies, is what's your credit score? You have to have a minimum of a 640 credit score. Again, we've talked about credit over and over again, but if you don't have that 640, we can certainly take a look at the credit report and see what we can do to get you there.
Right.
But on this particular bond program that I wanted to talk about today, it allows your income to be up to $80,156 a year. That's a pretty good income.
Sure, and it's not just $80,000; it's $80,156.
Right. That's right.
Now, if it's $157,000, you are out.
You're out, and trust me, you are out at $157,000.
That's right.
But anyway, so you can make up to $80,000 a year and still qualify for down payment assistance, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. I mean,
right.
You know, that's. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just, you know, what a lot of people think, okay, well, I'm probably not going to qualify to get down payment assistance program or a first-time buyer program assistance, all these things that kind of, these words are a lot of times interchangeable.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, that's going to surprise, I think, a lot of people out there that you could make up to that amount. Now that's household income, right?
No, that's what I wanted. That's what I was going to talk about next, Mike. That is just the people that are on the loan. So let's say, for instance, you have a husband and wife that want to buy a house, and the husband makes $80,155 a year. He qualifies, and the wife makes I hate to shortchange the wife. Let's say she makes $80,000 a year too. Okay.
All right.
So we'll just do the loan in one party, but not both. So we'll just do the loan in husband or wife, and the other party can be a non-purchasing spouse, and we still qualify.
Now that is huge right there, because all right, if you're listening, folks, honestly, you could make up to unlimited dollars really per year in the household. Let's just take the two people, husband and wife. They could really make up to an unlimited amount, so long as one of them makes the qualifying amount $80,156 below.
Correct.
Then we can make this happen.
And I just had a call from a customer yesterday that I closed on a bond program this past year, and he was frustrated at one of his friends. I told him to call you, Terry. I told him to call you, and he didn't do it, and he went to somebody else. And they're telling him he and his wife make too much money to use one of these bond programs, so just forget it. You're going to have to come up with the money yourself. And so I explained to him again, we just have to use one or the other. We don't have to use both of the incomes.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Now, what about debt to income ratios on that? Now, I know things are totally different. When you do have two parties, that are, you're married and they're purchasing the house, even if one of them is non-qualifying and not on the mortgage. How about, because generally that debt has still got to be counted.
Right.
What are we doing with that?
If we're doing an FHA loan, which most people that use the down payment assistance, that's the most popular loan type, is the FHA loan.
Sure.
Texas is a community property state, and we do have to include the non-purchasing spouse debt in the purchaser's debt to income ratio. So that is something we have to look at.
Right.
And sometimes that can create a problem for us, but we try to work around any of those issues. But yes, we do have to count both parties' debt.
So so a lot of times, good news is that we can qualify you under just one income, as long as that income's the $80,156 or below. The other party can make whatever they make. They can literally make $750,000 a year.
Right.
It doesn't really matter as long as one party makes the $81,156 and below. However, if one party's got excessive debt, or combined you have excessive debt, that may throw things off a little bit. But generally, most people are usually not in that situation.
Right. That it does come up. It just doesn't come up very often.
Right.
And there was a change to these bond programs this year from the bond folks. We are restricted to a 45% debt to income ratio. Before we could go up to a 50, but now we're restricted to 45. So they did tighten that a little bit on us.
And that's still a pretty big amount.
Oh, yeah.
It's certainly a big amount for one person.
Right.
Two people, it's still a pretty big amount too.
Right.
So.
And then the assistance that they get, they can choose what level of assistance they want. An FHA loan is going to require a 3.5% down payment, and then you're going to have closing costs on top of that. And if we don't have any seller's assistance, let's say they need 7.5% to buy this house total, down payment and closing costs. Well, you can get up to 6% in down payment assistance, and it's not just going towards just the down payment. It can be down payment and or closing costs. Okay.
Right.
So they can use 3%, 4%, 5%, or 6% down payment assistance. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the more assistance that you use, the higher the interest rate.
Right.
But we're still dealing in record low interest rates.
Right.
So it's not significant.
Yeah.
It's not a significant increase. It doesn't jump up 2 points because of it. It less than a point is what we're looking at on the increase in the interest rate.
Yeah, and most people are going to take that, hands down, because, you want to minimize your out-of-pocket expense, number one. Number two, a lot of people really do need this. They don't have those funds set aside anyway, although they may have them and then not know about it, because we've talked about this, what you add up in pet deposits, security deposits, first month rent, all those dollars are actually there. But not taking those funds into account and maybe limited funds in your bank accounts or whatever. They need these funds, so they'll take that, get out of the rent race and move into home ownership. But even if you do have some of those funds available anyway, a lot of people say, hey, minimize my out-of-pocket expense. It's, very low dollars onto the mortgage payment to take a slightly higher interest rate. And like you said, even if you do take that slightly higher interest rate, the interest rates are so low anyway, it's really close to free money anyway.
Right. Well, and that's one thing that I wanted to add as well, Mike, is let's say you have money in the bank. You just don't want to use it. Well, some of these programs, you have to prove you don't have the money.
Right.
Not these programs. You can have money in the bank to take care of this yourself. We can source that money, show it, and we can still use this down payment assistance as long as you qualify using all of the other criteria.
Right.
So, yeah, you can still, for instance, you can use the 3% free money because the interest rate on that program is pretty close to if you didn't use anything at all. So why wouldn't you?
Right.
Just utilize the government giving you 3%.
Yeah,
they're not giving me 3% free money.
Right.
I would take it.
Yeah. Well, whenever you can get something, from the folks,
from the government,
you better take advantage of it, right?
Absolutely.
So, if you do have some money in the bank and you'll want to use that for maybe getting some new furniture.
There you go.
Maybe getting a new refrigerator, getting some appliances and all that, and then you can do that. But don't do it until after we close.
Yes, we've talked about that.
Do not purchase anything until we close on the deal. So, folks, this is actually a really great program. If you're listening to us, you can tell it's kind of a somewhat liberal program because you can literally have unlimited household income so long as the qualifying party makes $80,156, as we said. The combined debt-to-income ratio is 45 or less. You can have some money in the bank even to cover your down payment, even though you're going to be getting this down payment assistance, and you can get up to that 6%. So, what an amazing program to get into a house, and it's very inclusive because the annual income is pretty high.
Right.
So it can cover a lot of people.
And there are no first-time home buyer requirements. So you could be selling your home and purchasing another one and still qualify. A lot of people have the misconception this is a first-time home buyer program, and it is not.
Right.
So you don't have to be a
first-time
first-time home
you
buyer.
could be in your home and have owned many homes before, and you can still work for this one. So, again, the restrictions on this particular program are, like I said, very liberal, and it's very inclusive to a very wide demographic of people. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to call us about this program and let us get you taken care of. By the way, phone number for that, 866-607-5667, Rocky Martin website. Rocky Martin Rocky is with an IE. Anything else closing up on this one?
Just call us and let us see what we can do to get you qualified for this program.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the greatest programs ever as far as I'm concerned. It's just too open to everyone. Well, I don't want to say too open. That's a bad thing. It's really open, and that's a great thing.
Right.
And it's very inclusive. There's just a huge number of people that could utilize this program, and so many people are not going to know about it because when they think down payment assistance, they're going to think low income and people that really need it. And there's certainly those programs for sure, but this program is just kind of wide open and just a great tool for home ownership and just a great thing for home ownership. So all those folks that are out there renting right now, hello, you need to call on this one for sure. 866-607-5667 is how you can get a hold of Terry and the Rocky Martin team. It's been Terry Wagner with Supreme Lending Rockwall. Again, the website rockymartin.com. Folks, it's Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga. We'll be back in a few.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to Perma-Pure Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of Perma-Pure Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling Perma-Pure at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapure.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
It's wonderful. I love the product. I haven't been sick all winter, and I've classically been sick every October or November or December or maybe one of each. And I haven't been sick at all because what I've done is double up on the veggies and open the capsule and put it in a little chicken broth, made a little soup of it, and just enjoyed it. And whenever I felt like I was coming down with something, I would do that. Just prevented anything from happening.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code DALLAS.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, we are back. It's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. Hey, time to go into another informational segment about your foundations out there, all you homeowners and all you potential homeowners out there. We're going to talk foundation talk with our favorite folks over at PermaPeer. Website's permapeer.com. That's permapeer.com. Phone number is 214-637-1444 for all your foundation needs. Jared Benson is here live in studio. Jared, how we doing?
Doing good. Great. Thanks for having me on again this morning.
Good to talk to you again, and always learning new things from you. And so I'm wondering what we're going to learn today. I think we were going to talk a little bit about, when your home needs foundation repair and kind of how to go about that process. And so let's get into it.
That's right. It's since foundation repair is such a big business here in DFW and North Texas in general, there are a lot of companies that do it, a whole lot of companies. Something that maybe we can talk about in another time is just, what do you have to do to be a foundation repair company? You might be surprised at the answer. So,
right.
Little teaser there for you for another show.
That's right. Exactly. Scary.
Yeah.
It is scary.
So when do you need foundation repair? Some companies will get the reputation, and I've heard people say it about companies, and they'll say, that company will put piers on a doghouse. So there's obviously people who don't do it the right way.
Right.
And sometimes that may be from a lack of training or a lack of understanding, even apart from people who are just going to try and sell something just to make a dollar. So
absolutely,
let's get into it. Now on another show, we've talked about sheetrock cracks, and that's kind of one of the first things people see when there may be an issue. And that's the way I like to say it. Just because you see some signs of stress doesn't mean you have a foundation problem.
Right.
They're just possible indicators. So one thing that people see a lot of are sheetrock cracks in the brick around the outside of the home, doors and windows that won't close the right way, or doors that swing open or they swing shut or they won't lock, or just cracks throughout the house, flooring that's maybe tiles popping or something like that.
Exactly.
So a lot of variety of different things you can see, and they're all possible indicators of foundation issues. And so all of our guys at PermaPeer Foundation Repair are trained by licensed professional engineers on how to properly evaluate a foundation. And the way they train our guys, and I've sat in there and listened to them, and this is, the rare occasion that I look at a house too. This is what I take into account when I look at a house is 3 things need to be satisfied in order to recommend work for a house. The first one is what the engineer calls a propensity for further movement. Basically, is there a possibility that house is going to move more?
Right.
Well, as we've also talked about, there's clay in the soil here in North Texas, so that clay will move.
Yes.
So just about every house here in DFW, qualifies under check number 1.
Right. Just because of our geographic location.
Just because of geographical location, any house could possibly move, or most houses will say.
Right.
So, anybody could put a pier on a house if that was all you needed. Number 2 is that house, does it have a change in elevations? What I mean is that foundation exactly level, or is it a little bit off somewhere? Well, I don't know if you've ever tried to measure the floor in your house, but it's almost never exactly level. And I'm fairly confident I can say never.
Yes, I would agree.
It might be 1/10 of an inch off, but that's a change in elevations. So if that's where your knowledge stops or that's where your justification stops, you can put a pier on almost every house here in DFW.
Sure.
But really, that's not a good place to stop, and I'll tell you why. Very, very smart mathematical people tend to plan and design the way homes are built, whether it's an architect or an engineer of some sort. They put all those plans together, and it all looks good on paper. But what happens when people go out there and actually start doing the work? Those guys aren't the ones pouring concrete. They're not the ones leveling the foundation. Who knows what the day was like,
the weather,
conditions, what those guys who did the work did the night before.
Exactly.
You never know exactly.
That's right. Human error.
Human error, yeah. So what you see a lot of times is that brand new foundations still have a variation in their levels. So that's not a good place to stop. And then the third thing, the kicker, really. That our engineers that we work with stress to our evaluators is you need to have a sign of stress. When I say sign of stress, that's all the things we talked about in the very beginning. It's a crack in the drywall, a crack in the brick, a door that's not opening or not shutting, or something like that. A sign of stress that goes along with that change in elevation, that correlates with it. So, if there's a small crack on the left side of the house and a change in elevation on the right side, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
It really needs to go together to where, it's pretty much common sense,
Mm-hmm.
Your house is down in one corner and you also have some cracks indicating that portion of the house is falling down.
Right.
Then you're not saying, oh, well, there's a change in elevation. What you're saying is the house has moved since it was originally built.
Right.
And that's when you may need some remedial repairs or something like that.
Yeah, and so it's gonna, folks, if you're kind of listening to what Jared's saying here, really goes to honesty, it goes to integrity of their company, whereas a lot of companies aren't going to go that far. As Jared said, we could probably put piers in every single house in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but that's not necessary. And so
absolutely,
it really is going to be obvious. So if you're, walking into the home, and let's say we walk towards a back bedroom, on the right-hand side, and you're going downhill, well, that's, we need to have some work done there. Or if you go off to the left of the property and the back side of the property in the kitchen, it just totally drops off.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's raised up. Maybe it's heaving.
Yeah. That happens too.
Or maybe there's a big hump in the middle, and to the left and the right, the properties both go downhill. Those types of things, folks, are really going to be kind of obvious, and this is when you need the folks at PermaPier to come up with a good, solid plan on how to attack, getting your foundation taken care of. So, if you're listening, they're not looking to take advantage of you. They're going through all these extra steps to make sure you need the work. Because a lot of times, I've, gone into so many houses helping clients look at homes. How many times have I gone into a home that's had foundation work done and it didn't need to be done, and it's worse off after the foundation work, after the foundation work, after the foundation work, after the foundation work, after the foundation